Want to use this title screen? No, let's use this one. It's better. It's great. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome back to something that I really didn't think I'd need to do, because I honestly thought the situation was over and done with, and apparently that's not the case. Because I did say if there was a significant update, I would do another video on it. I did say, things developed and I'd touch base on it and update things, and I honestly thought, given the last video, things were going to change. Like, he was apparently seeing a therapist, allegedly, and things were allegedly making a turn, and apparently that's not the case. But just set your expectations. For legal reasons, everything in this is allegations and not me making a statement one way or the other. It is also not me intentionally saying everything is the truth and you should accept what I say as fact. Although I will be citing resources, I encourage you to look at them yourselves and make your own decisions as to what you believe to be and not to be the truth. So, in short, everything in here is a opinion and not objective fact. Yes, that is a shameless legal dodge, and I really don't care, because I don't want to have to be taken overseas to a United States something or other to receive legal judgment if at all that happened, or to even receive that in my own country. I just think that the situation is worth being reported on in a chronological fashion. And this is not to take away from the seriousness of the situation, it's just I'm trying to cover my own ass. Anyway, if there is something that does come up, because this is now the second or third time I've had to reshoot this because of information that's popped up in the last 30 hours, do let me know. This is a situation that I'm trying to actively report on and chronicle as accurately as I can, and so far I think I've done a good job, but I always seem to miss one thing or the other. Anyway, to recap the last video for those who weren't there or couldn't understand it, because I don't know how to mix audio levels, apparently, and I need to stop eating on stream. That's my mistake. Alexander Mann, also known as YandereDev, was originally sent to homeschool out of middle school. From homeschooling, he developed a fascination with making games. Here's a bunch of usernames he went under at that time. Also, I just want to say, this quote here is pretty much him saying, I have a long history of responding very well to criticism as one of my biggest strengths. That's actually not true. When you go over to the last decade of his history, he has received criticisms or requests for help because he's not doing his job as a developer properly. And he's since rejected it because he's hidden the sand in in his own experience, trying to make games the best he can. And I'll leave that up to computer scientists who've already covered the situation better than I can. During this time, he has allegedly groomed or interacted inappropriately with minors or people of a young age, because he has missed out on that opportunity because of his homeschooling. Again, I will cite resources for this, in the YouTube comment section, not over Twitch, because I'm just abusing Twitch for recording purposes, so I can both broadcast here and then upload the VOD to YouTube. Anyway, this is Syphis, from the early stages and the YandereDev history. This is I believe pre-Yandere Simulator, but don't quote me on that. He allegedly is groomed. Yeah, it is pre-Yandere Simulator, yeah. He allegedly groomed or talked inappropriately to this person by the username of Syphis. Haven't been able to accurately verify that because records at the time come from a Tumblr username that is not one that she used at all. I also partly believe that statement was doctored by Alexander Mann, because he has done or shown to have done that in the more recent times, but again, haven't been able to verify that. Fast forward to him just finishing up at Santa Monica College with his game. Again, it's hard to say at the time exactly what he studied because the course he quotes on his LinkedIn profile, you can't exactly find it anymore. So it's difficult to go through the syllabus and figure out exactly what it is he studied over that time, but it is believed, based on what I've found on his LinkedIn profile and what I've seen of remaining courses at Santa Monica College, he did study game development with disciplines in game design, 3D modeling, and aspects of programming. Again, pre and post this time, he has wanted to develop his own games, and pitched pitched some of his games to Mike Zymont, who is one of the creators of Skullgirls, which is still in its own right a very popular game. Mike Zymont pretty much said, yeah, you have an interesting concept, but you really don't know how to make or develop games, and if you continue on with what you're doing, you're just going to create more problems with yourself because of how inefficiently you're making code. If that isn't a foreshadow to what we see now with Yandere Simulator, I don't know what is. Obviously, Alexander Mann took exception to this and was like, no, I don't believe you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create my own game with blackjack and hookers, and essentially Yandere Simulator is half him filling his own perversions, and the other half is pretty much a pissing match between him and Mike Zymont, because he's half trying to prove that he can develop games and develop them in a appropriate manner. He cannot. There have been multiple videos on that in the past, some of which I have referenced to in the previous video I did. Again, after this pissing match, he develops Yandere Simulator. He pisses off a bunch of people, does more sus shit with underage people. Again, allegedly. Here's one of the people that he screwed over that I included only because, well, one, she's the only person who wanted to get back to me who actually worked on the game, apart from a couple of other people. And her history is also with the project is very well documented, and I will always thank her for letting me include her content because, again, trying to document this with first-hand accounts of the situation is exceedingly difficult when no one who works on the game wants to talk to you because they, worked on the game and that was an experience and a half for them. And between 2022 to 2023, in fact, even earlier than that, by about, I think it's 2020, a lot more videos have come out about people commenting on the situation, saying this is their experience with, and it's just been like a never-ending donut or clusterfuck of people saying, this is my situation, this is my experience, it wasn't great, YandereDev is a piece of shit. Again, allegedly. And late 2023, LEMC in combination with Decepticommie got in contact with another, again, alleged, I'm only saying this for legal reasons, alleged SA victim of sorry, my brain's drawing a blank because I have a very fucked sleep schedule at the moment because depression is a bitch. About an alleged SA victim who we only know as Jane because they're trying to protect her real-life identity. And I say alleged because, again, it's not up to me to label someone as someone who commits sexual assault or is guilty of sexual assault. That's a responsibility of the courts. What I can say is the video released by LEMC went over multiple audio recordings, showed multiple chat messages over Discord that have been actually verified as accurate by Alexander Mann, which is interesting. That's not a very smart move if he's trying to... It's not a very smart move because ever since he's been trying to prove that he didn't do the things that he did, or he's not as creepy of a person as those videos make him out to be, but when you come out and you say, no, those messages over Snapchat are accurate, no, those audio recordings did happen the way that they did, it's kind of not possible to see you as anything but. That video made its rounds. I first saw it, which is what prompted me to go over the situation chronologically. These two have tried to keep in touch with her during that time as best they can. And then Cameron305, who has been the one largely on the Alexander Mann side, did file a false copyright strike against it under a different name, which again is not concurrent with Google's TOS regarding copyright strikes. Because for a copyright strike to be filed on the platform, you have to prove that you are the copyright holder or the holder of the IP in question, and he was neither of those things under either username. When another video went up, again, the video by LEMC, before I get too far in the timeline, it did cover another video that was never released. LEMC was working with Jane to cover or release a several-hour-long documentary where they went over multiple aspects of Jane's history with Alexander Mann. It went over her confirming that she could identify inappropriate situations, and a bunch of other stuff that we will just never see. When that information got back to Alexander, that they were working on this, he bullied or coerced her, and by her I mean Jane, into not releasing that video. That video was then never released, which is where LEMC and Decepticommie come in. Conversation was had, and then LEMC decided that it was in Jane's best interest to leak the information that she had in the video that is, as far as I'm always still on her channel, or was covered in the last video I made on the subject, which is what prompted both Cameron305 and almost everyone who's ever worked on that project to walk away from it. However, as we know now, Cameron305 has never fully walked away from the situation. We will touch base on that in a hot minute. So, what's happened since then? Because since then, Alexander has said, look, this shit's fucked. I'm seeing an online therapist. I'm trying to get help. That's not what's happened. So what's happened is this statement has been released, and it's, if you were to read it the way it's intended, it's a statement released by the person who we only know as Jane, which goes over a lot of the history regarding the video LEMC released, as well as Jane's history with Alexander Mann, how it references that conversation, and it was similar to FBI techniques used to gain information on the situation, as well as her denouncing the grooming allegations against Alexander Mann, or Alex as he prefers to be known, and it pretty much is an attempt to tone down the situation. Now, here's where I draw issue with this. We know, based on the previous video I did and the video released by LEMC, that Alexander Mann has, in the past, coerced people into releasing a doctored statement, or straight up just writing his own statement and then asking them to put their signature on it. Also, when you go through the specific wording of this, it reads very much like something you'd expect to see on his own blogs or his own updates for Yandere Simulator. There are also several sections of this that read very much like something that he himself would write, and the structuring, again, if you knew Alex, if you went over the entire history of his development, if you went through his Wikipedia, if you saw how he released his own statements, this reads very much like he himself wrote it, but going off of this isn't really enough to say that Alexander or Cameron305, who has assisted him in the past with these endeavours, have just written this and expected us to believe that Jane is the one who is releasing the statement. For that, we need to touch base on recent updates released by Decepticommie, where Cameron apparently did meet up with Jane, sent her an unsolicited dick pic. Apparently, there have been recent attempts to bring her back into the fold, which apparently have succeeded, because... Oh, hang on. Recent attempts to reconnect Jane and Cameron and YandereDev into a voice calls have happened, apparently, already. And the two of them, as far as I'm aware, are still... And two of them, by two, I mean Alex and Jane, are back in contact with each other, largely against Jane's wills, because apparently there is information that Cameron and Alex have on her that they're trying to blackmail her with. What that information is, I don't know. So, just a recap on that, because that's a lot of information to go over. Alexander has been proven to be grooming Jane. Jane was bullied into helping Alex cover his own tracks. The attempt failed. We figured it out. Cameron305 left the situation, joined the situation, got the two back together, and is working in tandem with Alex to cover up the situation. And we know this because when you go over the situation, when you go over the latest updates from Decepticommie, who's been the one most on the ground with the situation. Let's see, where is the tweet? I'm trying to find the tweet. Let's see. Yes, here it is. So when you go over this right here, this is just more evidence that the statement was in fact oh wait, hang on, you can't see that. GameCap. Over this, it is that it can be. So, what does this mean forward? Well, again, it is difficult. Well, what I can say for certain is shit's gonna get worse. I want to say it's gonna get better, or I want to say that Alexander has learnt something. He has not. In fact, if anything, this recent update has proven that the situation is going to get significantly worse. As far as what's going to happen for Jane specifically, there is not a lot that can be done. When this information was leaked, apparently Jane has cut off contact with Decepticommie and AliMC, who have been actively trying to help her with the situation, and she is still somewhat tied with Alexander Mann interpersonally. To what extent, I don't know, but as far as I'm aware, every effort has been made to help Jane out of this situation. She's been given the metaphorical ladder to escape the pit that she's in, and it is going to sound incredibly harsh because of how I'm phrasing this, but there is not a lot that can be done. She's been given all the help in the world. She's been shown the exit, but much like leading the horse to water and not being able to force it to drink. She's been led to the led to help her out of the situation. That help is still there, but it is up to her to decide what happens next, because in these types of situations, the victim has to want to change, the victim has to want to resolve the situation, and it's up to the victim to largely decide what course of action is taken outside of a law being broken. It sounds cruel, but if you try to force such situation out, you then remove control from the victim in question, which then creates bigger issues. So all that can be done is for Decepticommie and LEMC to remain on standby and to be ready to jump in and help when help is requested. Outside of that, there are organizations such as RAIN, which is an organization dealing with sexual assault or sexual violence against people, as well as National Institutes of Health, which in themselves may not be able to help with mental health situations, but know who you can talk to about this as far as the United States goes. Anyway, that is it from me. I can't comment any more on the situation because that's all the information that I have at hand. If there's something else that you want me to cover, again, let me know and I'll try to keep an update. I'll try to get an update online, but again, that's all I can do. As for what you can do, pray. Pray to whatever God you pray to, and just spread this information around as much as you can. Again, my name is Poptart, and I will see you when I see you.